What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a fantastic month so far. For those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just amazing, Cancer, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey, especially because it's your Celestial News Monthly. Sidebar, Cancer, I told Leo this, so I might as well just, you know how we have to have this monthly tea. So when I first started this channel, back in October, I had this little segment at the end that was Celestial News Weekly, and I was super pumped of that, but it was doing a lot. But now I've changed the title. This one is going to be Celestial News Monthly, so I'm really geeked up about that because now the flow is a lot better. But with this monthly spread, whenever the sun happens to change into a new zodiac sign, we're going to talk about where the planets are at and then how we can work with these energies, Cancer. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Cancer. So Cancer, I have oracle cards here with the zodiac signs that each of the planets are in, and we're going to pull an oracle card for each of the signs, and then we'll get some tarot cards to get some details on the mix. But before we jump into these things, these readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? And then, in case you all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested there, Cancer. But before we get into your oracle card here, let's talk about the party that Gemini is getting ready to throw. Kind of a small party here. Gemini's keeping it low-key this year. But we have the sun in Gemini, and then we'll have Mercury joining the sun a little bit later in June. But with the sun being in Gemini, sun entered Gemini will be entered on the 21st of May and will be there through the 21st of June. And with this energy, Cancer, this inspires our curiosity and really opens our mind up to new perspectives. And Gemini in general is just really fun, lighthearted energy. So this is a great time for just meeting up with friends, socializing in general, Cancer, and really with just where the energies are at for you. We're going to get into that a little bit more, but this is really a great time for you to have some fun, enjoy yourselves. And Gemini energy is very intelligent. They're ruled by Mercury, very intelligent, very witty, very just really good times, just for some laughter, but also for some learning as well, Cancer. You've been wanting to pick up any kind of new skills or refine something, work with the sun in Gemini. And then couple that with, you're talking about their ruler, Mercury is going to be moving into Gemini on the 11th of June and will be there through the 26th of June. And with this, you're going to be feeling maybe feeling a little more clear-headed, Cancer, more objective and with more mental flexibility. Because I tell you what, Gemini being a mutable sign, Mercury just is cranking. Just my moon is in Gemini, so let me tell you, all over the place. And something to keep in mind, Cancer, you may feel a little distracted with this energy just because Gemini can process, talk about voracious appetite when it comes for information. They can process a whole bunch, Cancer. It's just when you think about as a little kid, Mercury kind of rules over childhood learning as well. And when you think about how a kid learns, Cancer, kids are like sponges, and that's how you're going to kind of be feeling like. So if it gets a little overwhelming, if we got a whole bunch of ideas, my advice, definitely keep a notebook on hand, just to journal through some of this stuff if you find that your mind is being more overactive than normal. But let's see what our general energy is. Oh, I love it, Cancer. So your general energy for the month. But yeah, the Let me get myself together, Cancer. I'm excited because you got the 7th card of Sagittarius here, which is the White Rabbit card. And this is a card where we'll talk about curiosity. This is a card of spark of curiosity, gnosis, spiritual awakening. It's time, heeding the call, research it, inner knowing, dark to light, going down the rabbit hole, and waking from a dream. In Cancer, come on, what better way? I love when you work with the energies. And what better way to work with these energies than to, if there's something that you're curious about, just let's say in general, if you wanted to, I don't know, Cancer, maybe you wanted to learn more about porcelain rabbits or just figurines in general. Maybe you want to get something in. Maybe you've been thinking about working with animals, like real animals in general, Cancer. If there's something that sparks your curiosity, journey down that. See where that leads you. This is a time, Gemini is, explore. Go see what's out there. Broaden your knowledge and see where that takes you, Cancer. And it doesn't necessarily, when I say that, like, see where it takes you, it's not necessarily like it's gonna take you to like that next big career or whatever. It may just take you to a spiritual awakening, just an inner knowing, and that's powerful, Cancer. When you really start to understand all of the intricacies that make you, it makes this journey just all the more easier, even when we come up against some adversities. In Cancer, we're going to talk about the other energies, but this, considering how the energies are lined up right now, this really is a great time for you to really, if you've been thinking about this stuff, about getting an inner knowing, spiritual awakening, self-improvement. It is a perfect time. Research into that, whatever that means. Maybe we're looking into meditation. Maybe we're looking for different courses, but broaden your knowledge, Cancer. There's information aplenty out there for you. And if we need to go to the library, because I get it too, if we're working with limited resources, just don't focus on what you don't have, Cancer. Figure out what you do have at your disposal. We got a library, we have, if we need some internet, maybe we hit up like a Starbucks or maybe somewhere else so we can find some available Wi-Fi. But whatever this is, Cancer, go down this rabbit hole. Let's let's go on a journey, Cancer. Let's get some more tarot on this mix here and see where this journey is taking you. Really, in 2, Cancer, absolutely 7 of Swords. Oh, Cancer, hold up, girl. Oh, Cancer, Cancer. All right, so let me tell you what's going down here. Yeah. So we got 7 of Swords in reverse here, but that ain't no thing because we got the Empress, we got the Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, and we got 4 of Wands. And I'm actually really glad, Cancer, that both of these came up because both of these energies are doing some really beneficial stuff for our sign. But before we talk about that, because they're coming up next, Cancer, you know what? F it. I try to have these things in some kind of order here, but I see we're going to start switching things up right off the bat. So, and that's fine, Cancer. But with this spread here, with the 7 of Swords, one thing for me with this card, this is a card of tactics. This was sidebar, Cancer. When I did your video for the Charity Friends earlier, and this was your surprise card, was the 7 of Swords. I don't remember, and this is about skills, learning new abilities, refining any sort of learning more about yourself, Cancer. Finding, discovering different truths about yourself, because this card, 7 of Swords can be a card of lying and deception, but I'm thinking more so deception in the sense of like things that we say that we can't do, things that we can't complete, or this could be something too, maybe if we've had others maybe tell us in the past, or if we have people in the future who maybe tell us that we can't complete something, or that, try to prevent this abundance, Cancer. You are in a great place to know. No, can't anyone tell you about your potential other than you, Cancer? That's the big thing. This can be a very empowering time for you. Let's talk about the Empress, because the Empress is abundant. The Empress is, she's a culmination of all of the queens, and in order to get this abundance here, she has to go on these spiritual journeys. She has to learn different aspects of herself and complete these different cycles here, because the Four of Wands can be a card of completion. And if there are certain areas that she needs to research, to grow, to expand, because the 7th card of Sagittarius, they're ruled by Jupiter. They're all about higher learning and expansion. And when we take this time, Cancer, invest in ourselves, thinking with that 7 of Swords, be mindful of what we're telling ourselves and what we believe as far as like what we're capable of, then the Wheel of Fortune is yours. Abundance is yours. But it's something that we need to invest in. We need to think about this stuff. And so that's one aspect that I am getting with this thing, Cancer. But something else too, just with, Venus being in our sign, and we're getting into an age, I feel like really for our energy too, really thinking about your relationships. And because the Four of Wands can be like a card of marriage, sure, and this is not even just talking about your love relationships, Cancer. Venus, the Empress, deals with relationships, and how we're talking about, I love this little partnership here. When we're thinking about our relationships with others, are they raising our vibrations through the roof? Is there a mutual, 6 of Pentacles, is there like a mutual vibe that's happening here, mutual growth that's going down? And if not, what areas are the vibrations getting lowered? Is there something where we need to have a discussion with someone? Or this, if this is not a person, maybe this is even like a situation too, Cancer. These energies are about to talk about next are thinking about security and things, thinking about the long term, as far as friends, family, business, health, all these, a lot of big questions. Wheel of Fortune asks some big stuff here, but this really take your time in this, Cancer, with this journey and this knowing here. Take your time and enjoy the growth that is coming, but just really be thinking about what ways you want to grow and how you want to invest in yourselves, okay? All right, Cancer. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I got so geeked up. That was a really, really strong start. The energies are really, I feel like this Gemini season is going to be real kind of lit for the signs. Hold on. Because Leo had a pretty lit reading too. But let's talk about our energy, Cancer, since Venus wanted to the Empress couldn't wait to talk about our sign here, because Venus entered into Cancer on the 7th of May, and she'll be there through the 5th of June. And with this energy, Cancer, we have a really, and I talk about this on my other channel too, that's just for you guys. We have a very special connection with the Empress. With the moon being our ruler, the moon is feminine energy, Venus is feminine energy. The moon is exalted in Taurus, so there's that bond. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Even the moon in Libra is beautiful. We have such a tight bond with that. And this is really thinking about those bonds, those secure relationships. Are we, as just how the moon and Venus feel like besties and feel secure with each other, when they're in each other's signs and each other's homes and things, that there's that mutual respect, that trust there? Do we feel secure in our relationships? Whether this, again, be with family, with friends, with our lovers, because you got multiple lovers, Cancer, you know what I mean. But with our situations in life, this is asking a lot of big questions. I mean, we started off on a spiritual journey here, Cancer, asking yourself, and again, be curious, have these conversations, again, with Gemini energy, this is, and with Venus being in our sign, even the way we approach conversations, Cancer, it's going to come across with more emotional understanding and maturity, and just, we really can make a lot with this energy. But this also can be a great time too if you are involved in any kind of real estate, or maybe even thinking about like house stuff. Yeah, look how much real estate I do. This is a great time to be thinking about maybe some real estate, looking into that, maybe forecasting. I know someone who's parents are involved in real estate, but I don't personally know a lot. So definitely look into that, Cancer. But just because Venus can deal with, you know, the home or Venus dealing with finances, abundance, beauty, our sign being tied with the fourth house, it deals with family, the home, roots and things. Great time for that, but also for doing any sort of like home decor, DIY, if you've been meaning to paint the shutters or maybe do a fresh coat of paint in a room somewhere, maybe rearrange some things. Work with this stuff, Cancer, and indulge in this stuff. You know, those little things too, when we do take those times and do those little things to treat ourselves and do those little fixer-uppers, it really does raise our vibration, Cancer, and get the energy. It welcomes in more abundance, you know, when we rearrange that energy too. So just something to think about. But last little thing, we're going to get a little astrology lesson here, because depending on where you have Cancer placements, Venus is going to be forming a conjunction with your sign. And conjunctions normally, they're the blend of two energies. And where that sounds cool in theory, conjunctions can be a little tricky sometimes. You know, they require a little action. You know, it's a lot of it's a lot of figuring out how to get these energies to flow together. But the nice thing is we don't got to work that hard, Cancer, because again, Venus is already cool with us. So this, if anything, this conjunction can be, you know, depending on the relationships aspect, that might get a little tough there. But this can be a great time for us, you know, again, depending on where your Venus placement is and how you can find that. All you really need to know, if you want like an exact, you'll just need your date of birth, place of birth, and time of birth. But even with just your date and your place, because that's where I find that it's usually the time that is missing. But even without the time, you know, the only tricky placement might be your moon sign, but the rest of your chart is going to be pretty locked in as far as like what sign the planets are in. So you can get an idea of at least how the next, you know, period of this next cycle is going to look like. So really be working with these energies, Cancer. We got some good harmonious energies in the mix here, but let's get an oracle on this. Ha! I like that, Cancer. You got the seventh card of Aries here, which is the kerosene card. And with this card, this is a card of aggressive, accelerate, ignite, determined, fuel, encourage, sustain, powerful, stimulate, volatile situation, provoke, watch out, unpredictable, combustible, propel, and hot. And Cancer, I'll tell you what, when we're you know, talking about these other energies here, the energy is hot. You know, this is in Cancer, you already came out the box abundant. So that's what I'm saying. Work with these energies. You know, it's one thing to have all this beneficial energy around you, but you got to work, you know, got to put in some work, you know, make these things happen. And it's just, and you'll notice it as it makes sense, Cancer. So I feel like with all this heat, you know, we can get excited about all this abundance, but don't force anything, you know, just really trust your intuition, be feeling, you know, where the energies are trying to guide you right now. But this also, to me, Cancer, while we were talking about that securing relationships and things with Venus being in our sign, because this can be, because, you know, we're not worried, because we're thinking about security, we do want to be mindful of just like, we don't want to like force a situation, if that makes sense, as far as like a relationship. If there's something that doesn't feel right, if there's like some kind of weird tension or something in whether this, you know, however this might be translating, friend, family, loved one, but just being aware of that. If you feel like a situation might be volatile, you know, it just, and I hope that this is making sense, like just trying not to force something that doesn't make sense at the time, you know what I mean? Where we can get kind of eager to maybe fix some things or try to repair something or maybe try to solidify something. We don't want to force the way, I hope that makes sense. I think I'm gonna move off of that, but let's get some tarot on this, Cancer, and get a little bit more on these on this kerosene here. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay. All right, Cancer, I feel like this is what I was trying to get out here. You got the Ten of Swords in reverse here, and then you got the Five of Cups upright. And, you know, Cancer, if there was something where if we got, because, you know, Mars just moved out of our sign not too long, or, you know, when this is Mars will be moving out of our sign soon. But if we had something maybe in the past possibly where we might have had some kind of like hot situation, maybe we said some things, and not even just you, Cancer, maybe just some things we, like whomever was involved in this discussion. You know, if some things were said, maybe we, you know, some feelings were hurt, whatever that's looking like. This can be a time, I feel like you can be a time of repairing some things, you know, starting to do some healing, but it's something that I feel like we can't force this. You know, if there's someone that doesn't want to have this conversation, then we just kind of got to let it be, you know, let them do their healing. You do your healing. You might be disappointed with them not wanting to repair this thing, just if, for example, if this is a person, but we just got to let it go, you know, and when these people vibe with us, and this is not even if you're going through something, Cancer, just if something happens in the future and maybe things get out of hand and we, you know, we try to like, wait, you know, but if they're not feeling it, let's just back off a little bit and just kind of let the heat kind of cool down some before, you know, and just see what happens. Maybe they'll come to you, or maybe you'll go to them, you know, depending on where this goes. But also, Cancer, I feel that if there's been something with like almost like with like a job, I'm almost kind of getting, if we had something where maybe we got let go or something, like I'm not sure why a job is popping in, but if we had, maybe things were fine. Maybe like your company might have said things were fine at a job, and then maybe things, you know, maybe that's something with this line here. Maybe something happened. I'm not quite sure, Cancer, but if it left you in a place of feeling where, you know, we're feeling kind of like down in the dumps, you know, like what are we gonna do next? Don't let situations like that, or try not to let situations like that bring you down. How can we use this disappointment and turn that into fuel? You know, how do we, you know, you know, don't rush the healing, you know, process this, you know, if that's something that's resonating with you, or if something happens, and not like I foresee anything happening like that, Cancer, but just try not to let you know, if we've been feeling, you know, if been feeling in a place of betrayal, or been feeling like in rock bottom, or get in that place. Yeah, just don't let that keep you in there. There is abundance that's hidden in that. I mean, come on, Empress and in the Wheel of Fortune, there is something there. We just have to find it, Cancer. And here's the thing, too, when we get in situations like that, it's easy to find the negative in things. It's a little bit harder to find the positivity, but when you do, man, it's abundant. And it really, you know, it works for us. So just something to this, and I hope that made sense. That was yeah, I hope that made sense, Cancer. Let's see what else we got here. All right, dope, Cancer. So we got the World here. Oh, okay. We got our ruler here, the High Priestess in reverse, but then we got the Two of Cups upright. And so, Cancer, I'm also kind of, okay, now we're kind of taking a little different turn here. I'm kind of feeling with this energy, too, that because just with the High Priestess being in reverse, that has to deal with our intuition. And if something doesn't feel like this is part of your world, if this is not how you envision things, you know, just is like more so like kind of doing like a check-in, Cancer. You know, if you don't like where things are resonating with you, if we're kind of disappointed with where, you know, how things have been going up until this point, how can we use this fuel? How can we take these feelings that we're experiencing and turn those into opportunities, you know, to change the narrative, to change the direction that this fate, this wheel is guiding us right now? Because the High Priestess, if there have been any kind of like signals that things that haven't been going right, you know, we got to pay attention to that. But also, Cancer, just even thinking with like that spiritual awakening, just that's a great way to strengthen your intuition, you know, to really do that deep dive, to get that connection with, you know, the Two of Cups. You know, this is like a great connection between you and your higher self. But yeah, if we've just been, I'm just kind of getting a little bit bigger now, Cancer. We've been feeling maybe a little disappointed with where life has been taking us, or, you know, how this world has been. You know, this is a great time to wrap up this cycle that we're in right now and change the narrative. Go on a different journey, you know, go towards manifesting abundance, because that's what the Empress does. You know, as soon as when she realizes that, okay, these cups here haven't been serving me a purpose, what's going on behind me here? They've got two more cups back here, and you know what, even further in the distance there's a castle. You know, I bet they got whole running water down there. I ain't even got to sit down here and worry about these cups, and maybe we can clean out some of these other ones. But all that to say, Cancer, learn about yourself, you know, take this time, reflect, be thinking about where you want to take this direction, where you want to guide life, and really just raise your vibration. But again, just, you know, don't feel like you have to force this healing. Process these situations. You know, if something has happened or if something happens in the future, process this. You know, get down, but don't let it keep you defeated. It may feel like a low at the moment, but it'll pass, Cancer. You know, got a lot of cycle stuff here too. Saturn, the moon, you know, well, not really necessarily the High Priestess, but when I just think about her, literally the moon is doing nothing but going through cycles. And the Wheel of Fortune as well. Just, it's all about cycles, Cancer. We're a cyclical sign. So, you know, really being aware to that and seeing where the energies are taking you, and utilize that energy to your advantage, okay? Alrighty, I think I'm done throwing word salad at you. Now, let's get on to Taurus, because this is going to be some good energy as well, Cancer. Speaking of Jupiter, because you got Jupiter that's going to be in Taurus, and then you have Uranus that's been in Taurus. It'll be in Taurus for a couple more years. But with Jupiter getting ready to, you know, with entering Taurus, this is a great time to be thinking about, especially too, if we have just gotten through something, or, you know, been doing some healing, or, you know, been thinking about what's the next step looking like. That's what Jupiter wants us to do, to pause for a second and figure out, what does that long-term abundance look like? How do we get towards those steps? What do we need to invest in? You know, what are some things that you're interested in? You know, the one thing I like about this Wheel of Fortune in particular is that it's, you know, this guy, he's on this spider web here. And all spiders do, you know, to get their abundance, they do what they do, well, one of their favorite things to do, at least I would assume. You know, they build this beautiful spider web, and then abundance comes. And that's where I feel like the energies, especially with what Saturn is doing in Pisces right now, with where Venus is in our sign, this is a very creative energy for us, Cancer. You know, you can manifest your world, you know, and what does that look like? And you know, really be asking yourself these deep questions just going forward. You know, we got a lot of the outer planets, you know, kind of in a mix of like this earth and water energy. It's a great time for, you know, really just to manifest a garden there, Cancer. But also, I think I got everything with Jupiter there. Oh, one other thing, Cancer. When we think about Jupiter and Uranus, Uranus, you know, this is when we're going to need to kind of know your degree and where all your stuff falls, you know, because that's, you know, Uranus is kind of halfway through through Taurus right now. But Jupiter getting ready to get ready to enter our sign is going to form a sextile with wherever you have Cancer placements. And sextiles are very easy flow energy, very fortunate. After a trine, the sextiles are dope, but they require a little bit of work because they're not very dynamic action, or very dynamic energy. It's something that you gotta it's a little passive. You gotta get the energies moving. But when you do, talk about Wheel of Fortune, Empress, World, all day, every day. So really, take this next year can be a very abundant time for you, Cancer, depending on how you invest in yourself and how you piece together your world here. And that's what we was talking about Uranus and Taurus as well, because Uranus will be there until 2025. Uranus has been having a party in Taurus for quite a while now. Uranus stays about 7 years roughly in a sign. And Uranus is a planet of revolutions. It brings in change, but it's not just change just for change's sake, Cancer. It's making space for new opportunities. We're getting in a very innovative, creative type of time here. And, we got to Uranus it's cleaning house for you to plant some seeds there, Empress, to build this, whatever this is, beauty that you want to bring into the world. So invest in yourself, Cancer. Ask yourself these questions. Get curious. Get motivated. Let's get an oracle card, Cancer, which we're going to do right now. Let's get an oracle on this. Cancer, look at this. You got and Cancer. All right, I wasn't gonna say anything at first, but now we're heating up here. You got another 7 here, Cancer. So 3 7s. You want to talk about a jackpot? All right, you got our seventh card of Cancer. How funny, 7th card on our card here. You got the fairy tale card. And this is a card of believe the impossible because it's happening right in front of you. Daydreams, romantic ending, universal archetypes, hopeful, magic, unicorns and rainbows, aspire, happily ever after, fanciful, and stories we tell. And that's kind of what I was, now we're starting to piece together here, Cancer. Because this is where I was talking about with the 7 of Swords. When we think about the things that we tell ourselves as well, or at least if I didn't talk about that, I'm about to talk about it right now. Because with that being a card of lying, cheating, this could be the lies that we tell ourselves, Cancer, as well. Believing that we're not intuitive, or that we can't trust our gut, or that that the universe is trying to, it's not on our side, or that abundance isn't around us. We got to be mindful with that, Cancer, because if that's the story, the narrative, if we're just painting 5 of Cups and 10 of Swords, then that's going to be the narrative, and it's going to slow down the healing process and to slow down the growth. And with Saturn, all right, Cancer, I see we're just going to go out of order here. I see where you're just changing the rules up. That's fine, Cancer, we're flexible. But with Saturn being in Pisces, this is a great energy, making your dreams come true, thinking about what that means, getting the fuel behind that, and getting that stuff started, Cancer. This is dope, and this too, again, this doesn't have to be something where we're talking about like a business. This could even just believing that maybe I didn't, because how sometimes we can tell ourselves we want to do something that we're passionate about, but there's not enough time in the day. Well, then believe that there's enough time in the day. Make time for the day. Of course there is, Cancer, because when we think about too, that asks us to think about where we're prioritizing our energies as well. Another thing with Jupiter, because here's the thing with Jupiter can be a double-edged sword. Because sure, where he's a planet of abundance and higher learning and expansion, it's like, what are we expanding on? Because Jupiter's just generous. It doesn't, where we're indulging that energy, Jupiter don't care. It's just where are we putting that? And he's going to keep getting abundance. And because we can accumulate low vibrations, Cancer, that's another thing. Like Jupiter it's not, he doesn't discriminate like that. He's just, this is what you've been saying you wanted. So just be mindful of that. You know, you can manifest unicorns and rainbows if you want to. It's just a matter of believing in that aspiration and finding out how we can make this thing work, because empresses, you can't tell the empress she can't do anything. You just got to, the only person who can bring down an empress is herself. So there's power in that, Cancer. This high priestess here, I feel like this really is learning about your power. Everything else, all the other planets so far are believing in you. Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. You just got to believe in you, Cancer. But let's get some tarot on this. Ooh. I love it, because you got the Lovers here. Look at you syncing up with the energies. Lovers. Okay, we got the Nine of Cups here, and then we got the Six of Cups. So the Six of Cups and the Nine of Cups are in reverse here, Cancer, but then we got the Lovers. So really, Cancer, there's a strong intuition here of really connecting with your higher self. You know, just High Priestess, the Lovers, and the Two of Cups. Because the Two of Cups and the Lovers, you know, the Lovers really for me is like your higher self. This is higher self winking at you. And if you haven't been feeling in a high vibration with this Nine of Cups here, what are some things that can make you happy? What are some things that can make you feel abundant? Because Six of Cups, if we stay in the past and tell ourselves the same narrative and we keep perpetuating that story, then that's the energy. Like I was saying with Jupiter, that's just what's going to happen. It's like we can say, like, okay, let's say here's a good example with how Jupiter can kind of backfire. Let's say you want to work on a diet, and that's dope, and it's like maybe we start off eating healthy, but then we get a little lax with busy, you know, then we start cheating. You're not, I don't want to say cheating, but you know, then we start not eating less, like not processed meals, and you know, then because Jupiter can expand at the waistline, you know, so it's something. Nine of Cups, let's get back to what we want to attract. And that's see Cancer, see how easy it is. We can get trapped in that cycle, how we can get caught in that low vibration, even just for a second. And it takes some diligence. It takes practice, repetition. But with Nine of Cups, they think of this card as like a magnet. When we attract our dreams, when we attract abundance, and when we start doing things that make us feel happy, abundant, you know, maybe getting out in nature, going to see the world, you know, maybe going, like, well, the world, you know, maybe we're traveling to like the next city, or just expanding, Cancer, you know, expanding your experiencing things. Then that's how we keep attracting abundance. And when we start letting go to, Cancer, of things that are lowering our vibrations with the Five of Cups here, and start healing from this stuff with the Ten of Swords, then that's how things start that's how the wheel gets moving, and that's how the abundance starts flowing, and that's how all this easy energy that we have at our advantage here, Cancer, starts rewarding us. But we got to get out of our heads. We got to change the narrative, and we got to be, let's create some new memories. Let's create some new possibilities. And this is something too, Cancer, if you've been feeling kind of low, maybe there's something that you've been feeling a little discouraged about life, maybe things haven't been going your way. The Six of Cups can also be a card for me of sharing these things. Don't keep this stuff bottled in. Keep this stuff a secret. It's okay to feel like you don't know. You don't have to lie to yourself and say that you know, to feel like you have to have all the answers, you know. You don't have to lie and say that you have to have everything figured out, you know. There are times when we can pause and like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out. And even, you know, but it's like, but I'm not going to just stay in that I don't know, you know. At some point we need to know, do some research, do all this stuff. So just something to think about with this energy, Cancer. Make your dreams come true. More. All right, and because hold on now, because Saturn's here, you know, Saturn being in Pisces, and this is when I've been actually really excited to talk about with Cancer. Because with Saturn being in, because we have Saturn and we have Neptune in Pisces. And this is another one again, especially when it comes, let's talk about Neptune first. Because Neptune's been in Pisces for a while. You know, Neptune chills in a sign for about 14-ish years. And Neptune is one of the rulers of Pisces along with Jupiter. And with Neptune in Pisces, Neptune being Pisces until 2025. Very creative energy, Cancer. You know, Neptune is a planet of dreams and of, you know, vivid imaginations and things. And with it, you know, with this being in a water sign, you know, whenever planets are in a water sign, they're forming trines with wherever you have Cancer in your placements, you know? And trines are the most fortunate aspect. They're very fortunate, very lucky, very harmonious opportunities, you know? Abundance are flowing through. This is a great time to make your dreams come true. Work with all that creative energy, especially if you've been, don't keep these things locked up, Cancer, because you know the moon can deal with like our subconscious. And I feel like that for maybe for some of us, there's an energy here of like letting that abundance shine, you know, letting that inner artist and whatever that translates, you know, whether you're painting something, maybe we're doing some woodworking. I was telling Leo, maybe we're detailing some cars, maybe you're doing group, I don't know, maybe you're doing something with animals. Again, maybe you're creating stuff. I don't know, Cancer, but you know, and that's the beautiful part. And if you don't know, spiritual awakening, spiritual journey, take this time, enjoy this energy, ask yourself these questions. Let's connect with higher self, and beautiful energy. But also, this is very, just Neptune in Pisces is also very compassionate, and you know, just how we were talking about the dreams, you know, because it can be very dreamy energy, we can get just lost in that sometimes. That things can seem so grand that we can have a hard time bringing it from the dome to the home. And if that's the case, how, you know, with the Gemini energy, maybe talk with some people. Maybe we need to get like a team, you know, together, you know, maybe partner with someone, however that looks. But yeah, that's I was trying to think if that's everything else I want to cover with that one. So yeah, that's Neptune and Pisces in a nutshell there, Cancer. And then with Saturn being in Pisces, this is the one where I feel like this is going to be an interesting time for us, Cancer, especially with this spiritual awakening. Saturn is going to be going retrograde. He'll be in Pisces for like the next 3 years, but Saturn's going to be going retrograde on the 17th of June, and will be retrograding until the 4th of November. And retrogrades just in general are a time of reflection. But when Saturn goes retrograde, you know, Saturn is the opposite sign of the moon. So I love that, how you got this, you know, love how you got that going down. But when Saturn's a planet of restrictions, karma, limitations, time. He can be he's a taskmaster. He can be a bit of a hard ass. And when he's doing in retrograde, he's asking us, Dad's asking us, what have you been up to until now? You know, what have you been working on? You know, have you been manifesting dreams? Because that's what, have we been doing some soul searching? And if not, let's get it going. Because, you know, this is like, imagine Saturn going direct or going retrograde as like a cosmic interrogation. And with it being in Pisces, you know, this invites us to do that soul searching. I mean, you came out the box, you must have got a feeling that Saturn was getting ready to do something big. So good thing we got to jump on it, Cancer. But do some soul searching, doing some shadow work. And Cancer, there may be some delays and some setbacks with this energy, but you know, with Saturn is the type of energy that it might be slow progress, but it can be steady progress. You know, don't worry about the time, just worry about the effort that we're putting in. You know, that's what Saturn wants, you know. And I feel like it's not even going to, or at least it doesn't have to be super hard, Cancer, for us in particular. Just because for us in Scorpio, because Saturn and Neptune, you know, well, the Neptune one is going to depend a little more specifically on where your signs are at, you know, as far as the degree. But throughout these next 3 years, Cancer, just roughly, be going on an introspective journey, and really, and because this can be a really beneficial time for you, just with how that trine energy with Saturn. This doesn't have to be where it's like super restrictive. You know what I mean? A little bit of work, Cancer, just creating some stuff, manifesting some things will go a long way, and investing in yourself. You know, but let's get some tarot or an oracle on this, and get some more details. Ooh, okay, Cancer. So you got the 5th card of Aquarius here, which is the Pillory card. And with this card, this is a card of open dishonor, humiliation, finding fault, punishment, abusive, shut down, caught, public ridicule and mockery, nowhere to run, censure, serving time, and vulnerable. And now, Cancer, listen, I know, and thanks, higher self. I know I just said things were going to look easy, but, you know, this Pillory, I feel like with this energy is saying that this abundance, this cycle is only going to be as easy as you make it, Cancer. And I know how that may sound, but if we stay stuck in the past, if we have things that, if we cling on to stuff that we know lowers our vibration, if we don't listen to our intuition and listen to that gut feeling when things don't feel right, Cancer, then it's just we can get into a place where we feel shut down, where we feel trapped and be, with talk about that Neptune and Pisces energy, that's very compassionate energy as well, Cancer, and make sure that we're being compassionate with ourselves. And honestly too, just thinking with Venus being in our sign, this, and talking about relationships, let's that's all kind of piecing together. Let's just be mindful of if others are lowering your vibrations, let's put some boundaries up. If there's been someone maybe that has been, bringing you down, however that looks, Cancer. Because here's the thing, we can be a sign where, it's not to say that because Cancerians, we're not a doormat, but we will do a lot for people. We give a lot and it takes a lot. I feel like you got to really do something kind of shady here for 10 of Swords. You would definitely have to do something, I feel like 10 of Swords, like betrayal in realms to upset a Cancer, to that aspect. But you want to be mindful of the people that you're around, Cancer, and who you're nurturing and who who we're supporting, because that nurturing energy is special. All the zodiac signs have something special about you. That's one of our special things, Cancer. You want to just be mindful of who we're nurturing, who's basking in this abundance as well. That's not to say that, you know what I mean, Cancer? If someone is getting in the way of your journey, and if it's just like you feel like you're just giving and giving and giving, and it's just like then we gotta do something about that, Cancer. We gotta put up the blocks there. But I just feel like, also as well, just make sure we're being kind with ourselves when we're figuring this stuff out, because when we get to asking ourselves these kind of big questions, like, what do I want to create? What does that look like? How do I do this stuff? What tools? It can seem like a lot at first, but don't get to a place where you feel like you're behind or get in any kind of negative headspace. If anything, let that just be exciting. It's just like, okay, Gemini energy, I have a lot to learn, so good. You know what? Now I know how my time is about to be spent. What can I let go to fill in more time to learn this thing here? Like changing the narrative up, making new experiences. But let's get some tarot on this. And then, get a little more details on this, Cancer. Interesting. You got the Page of Swords in reverse here. And this kind of feels like, almost like ties into like that fairy tale card. I'm thinking with this Page of Swords. Because sometimes, and this honestly, when I think of which zodiac sign this embodies the most, I feel like Page of Swords definitely embodies Gemini a lot for me. And if we've been just like thinking a lot about maybe a dream or starting up something or thinking that something is impossible, this could be maybe we're thinking about a relationship, just thinking with this lovers, maybe we want to start up something, but maybe we're worried about being humiliated if they're going to reject us or something. But Cancer, it's one of those things you want to stay in your head thinking about it, or do we want to see what happens? You want to, use that fuel and get something sparked up. But it's something that you gotta try to, try to implement some of these ideas that we're thinking about, because if we just stay in our heads all the time, that's just where we're just going to be stagnant. And then there's the growth, it just takes so much longer to go through than if we were to just give this thing a try, put yourselves out there and just see what happens. Because maybe something with this too, maybe because this is, and here's the thing too, Cancer. If you're, let's say, for example, if we've been wanting to display something, maybe like a piece of art or something, and we're worried about public ridicule or anything, if anything, that's a good thing, because all this worry and concern shows that it means a lot to you, and that is near and dear to your heart, and that's wonderful, Cancer. That's how we Nine of Cups. Stay in that energy, and if there are any sort of ridicules or anything, just talk. It's like how I talk about at the beginning of the video. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest with them. If there are some genuine improvements for this project or dream or anything, absolutely, we're open to constructive criticisms. But if it's just something that, if people are just like, oh well, that sucks, Cancer. Okay, what have you created today? That would be my comeback for that. Like, come on. We want to get to just something to think about, Cancer. But I will say that too, just when we're talking about all this abundance and opportunities and things, with this card, the Pillory card, this can be or just being mindful of how we're being perceived by others, Cancer. And I don't mean like you need to not be yourself, but the example that I used, I forgot who I was telling this. I think I was telling Libra this last week, but this card, when it comes up, I kind of think of it as like, when you go to like that office party, and they say like it's open bar and it's like, woo, and then, but that's the thing, we get a little too woo, and then you're known as the party animal the next day at your office. That's the kind of image that I'm talking about, Cancer. Just being aware of that, because you're surrounded by so much abundance, and that's something too, if you're in like just in a public, and even if you're not, we just want to be mindful of how we're just presenting ourselves in general, Cancer. We can't, well, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that there, Cancer. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see what else we got here. Cancer. Love it. Ooh, Cancer. Okay. So we have a lot of planetary energy here, Cancer. You got the Judgment card. You have the Ace of Swords. You got the Ace of Swords upright, which is dope. And then we got the Judgment card, and then we have the Knight of Coins in reverse here. Taurus energy. And when we're... honestly, Cancer... the Ace of Swords is like an epiphany. This is like a great idea. This is like that rush when you were just sitting down watching TV and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's Ace of Swords. And if we have something, if we had an Ace of Swords that we've been thinking about, that we've been wanting to get started here, Cancer, the Judgment card, this is Pluto's card. The next stop after the Judgment card is the World. So what do you want to create? I love that you, Cancer, because you got Pluto. Okay. With the Judgment card, this is like ultimate transformation here. This is like that next level thing. And that's where, well, okay, I'm all over the place. Let's start with your ideas first. If you've been sitting on an idea, Cancer, give that a try. See where that takes you. If this is just like, let's say maybe starting up a hobby, for example, even if we're not showing anybody, you know what I mean? If this is not for display, do something for you. If you've been wanting to start a garden, if you want to maybe paint some cups, or you may work with animals, or do it. and just see how that makes you feel. See how that raises your vibration. Be patient with yourself. You know, with this Knight of Coins, be patient with this, whatever it is that you're working on, but nurture this thing. I love that. Venus is in Cancer. Two of Cups is Venus in Cancer. Just do this stuff here, nurture this energy, and just see what happens. See what inspirations pop up. You know, pay attention to that, because there's something here that's cooking up. I told, you know, and that's funny that Leo keeps getting moved to the back burner here, because I was telling Leo, you know, they had a similar, like a lot of big energy coming through. And Cancer, really pay attention to these signs, listen to your body, listen to your feelings, you know, check into that. That's one of our strongest indicators, is our emotions. So if there's something that you've been feeling passionate about, been wanting to grow, just do it, and just, again, just see what happens, because I feel that it's going to change things in a direction that, who knows, it could lead to love, it could lead to a lot of things, but we just got to be in that energy more, you know? It's like if you've been dreaming about, you want to become a doctor. Okay, let's get, what are we watching? Are we watching, you know, like, are we just studying more doctor things? You know, are we getting familiar with the jargon? Are we getting medical books? You know, are we buying some scrubs? You know, like, are we just like, what ways are we steering that wheel towards that direction? But so much happening here, Cancer. And trying to think if there's anything else that I have with that, Cancer. Lot to think about here, for sure. So, and you know what? This is actually perfect, because with the Judgment card popping up in reverse, let's get some tea, Cancer, and let's talk about Capricorn energy. Because Pluto's going in retrograde, and I love that you got Pluto in retrograde here with the Judgment card, but Pluto is going to start retrograding in Capricorn on the 11th of June, and will be, well, I mean, it's already retrograde, but it will officially move into Capricorn on the 11th of June, and will be there through the 10th of October. And Pluto, when you think about Pluto in Capricorn, because Saturn rules over Capricorn, our opposite sign, this is asking you, what do you need to be independent and like free to do what you want to do based on what you've earned? You know, this is asking that, how have you invested in yourself? You know, when you think about Capricorn energy, they're about ambitions and prestige and patience, structure. They're the hardest workers of the Zodiac. And this is, you know, this is asking, you know, are there any patterns or any sort of things that we need to let go, that we might need to do some healing from, that throws our instincts off? And let's correct that. And then what does success look like to you? You know, what does abundance, how is that translating for you? You know, what would help you feel more in your Empress energy? How can we feel that this Wheel of Fortune is going in our directions? You know, is this world what we've envisioned, how we pictured it? So a lot of big questions here. I feel like it's no wonder that you kind of came out the box here with this spiritual awakening, Cancer, because this is a lot. Even just as I'm talking about this, it's like I feel like we're just sort of just been kind of bouncing a lot of feelings. You got a lot of, even just looking at your energy here, Cancer, minus the Knight of Coins here, your minor, oh, and then you got one over here, but it's a lot of cups and a lot of swords, so really tune into these emotions, Cancer, and you know, find that balance between that head and that heart connection. And that's where you you make that connection with your higher self, your future self, however you connect to the source. This journey gets so much easier. Things start falling into place, and they really start picking up at an impressive rate, Cancer. But we got to put in that work first. We got to ask ourselves, what's keeping us down here? You know, what aren't we seeing in this? But let's get an oracle on this. And just for those of you, just a little sidebar, if you have, depending on, you know, if you know your chart like that, you know, got all that information. If you're on like the last degrees of Capricorn, I think Capricorn is retrograding back to about the 27th degree. if you know that, if you know that information, Capricorn is, when it's going to form an opposition with wherever your Cancer placement is at. For example, actually, now that I'm actually thinking about that, my Chiron placement is in Cancer, and it's on the 28th degree. So that actually will be hitting up opposition there. And oppositions they're challenges, and they provide tension because it's like two opposite energies trying to merge together, it's a little bit different than the conjunction where it's like, they just sort of like, it's the conjunction is almost like invasion of the body snatchers, whereas oppositions are like trying to push two magnets, like two opposite end magnets together. But when you can figure out how to integrate those energies, man, it's amazing, it's what can come out of that. But it requires choices, when it comes to that opposition. So just a little random little sidebar, if you happen to know your chart to that degree. Oh, Cancer, I love it. And what an appropriate thing to do during this retrograde time with all, you got the fourth card of Libras here, which is the Yoga card. I really do enjoy this card because this is a card of contemplation, deep breath, centered, go within, steady, balanced, relax, take a breath, inner child healing, meditate, time alone, balanced chakras, reflection, wellness, and rest. And so, Cancer, great energy for you to be thinking about what ways that we can do some healing, what ways do you want to grow? Are you on? Do some relaxing things for yourself, Cancer. Get centered, go within, get balanced. Because what better way to do some spiritual work than, this could be doing maybe some physical yoga, whatever that's looking like. But even thinking about that, like that inner child healing, the Six of Cups for me is very childlike energy. And if we have any sort of like healing that needs to be done, maybe even just, High Priestess being in reverse, the moon rules over our sign in the fourth house, lives in the fourth house, and that can deal with some family stuff. Cancer gets into that realm. And if there's Venus in Cancer, if there's any sort of like things that seem to be, that you notice that are holding you back, maybe there's some conversations that need to be had. But again, I feel like maybe that's another thing. Maybe don't try to force that healing along, just as maybe like try to let it happen naturally, Cancer. But this pretty much, this Pluto and Capricorn is very much this. This is a time to just do some breathing, contemplate, do some ruminating, reflect, figure out the rest of this year is a lot of that. Thinking about how these planets are really setting up the stage here for this next, because this next couple decades are going to be a wild ride for sure, Cancer. And I mentioned this with Leo, and I'm going to mention it. I think I'm just going to mention it in general, just because going back, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. This is a great time, Cancer, we really want to stay balanced and mindful during these next couple years in particular, just because Neptune's going to be moving into Pisces moving from Pisces into Aries in 2025. And that's going to be some interesting energy. Where on the positive side, this can be, if we're working with like a great soul tribe and raising that vibration and got a strong connection, working on boundaries and things, absolutely, it can be a really wonderful time for like spiritual leaders to rise up and for healers to really come to the forefront to really raise that vibration. But on the flip side, there may be some weirdness going down. There might be some, on the lower vibration, might be some fanaticism that might happen, some extremists that might come up. And, and it's not to get you in a panic place. It's just to get you mindful, get you thinking, keep your wits about you, stay calm, stay centered, stay balanced, stay blessed. But, yeah, I'm with that, Cancer. Let's get, thought I had some more with that. I was like, no, that was solid. Let's get some tarot on this. All right, we got Three of Cups here. Okay, we're getting rid of those stuff here. Come on. Okay, hold on, Cancer. And absolutely Three of Cups. Three of Cups all day. Four of Wands, excuse me, Five of Wands. Okay, Cancer. So you got the Three of Cups and the Five of Wands upright, but then we have the Three of Coins in reverse here. And I will say, you know, just because the Three of Coins, this is, Three of Cups, this is Mercury in Cancer. We want to be mindful of what we're telling ourselves. You know, we want to tell ourselves uplifting things, and we want to be around people too who are, because it's not like I'm saying we need to be, you know, it's not saying we're ignoring the situations that are going down around us. We're focusing on solutions. You know, we don't just focus on problems. And that's where I feel like that we want to have people around us with this Three of Cups that are raising that vibration, that are, because if we're around energies and, you know, if we're watching things that are just producing conflict, Five of Wands, and there's nothing constructive that's happening, Three of Coins in reverse, then we need to remove ourselves from that, because that's it gets you to where we start doubting what we could, like what makes sense to do. You know, it keeps us stuck in the past, keeps us stuck in just low vibrations, Cancer. And this is an energy where we want people we can brainstorm with, you know, because the Five of Wands, when we're in a thing of conflict, that the nice thing about that is like that gives us a challenge. You know, that's where, even when you think about like tough aspects like oppositions or maybe even like squares, yeah, they can be tough, but that gives you a chance to add some fuel to get some momentum here, get some results. Whereas, you know how we were talking about with Jupiter, where you can, even a positive energy can play against us, you know. But all that to say, Cancer, this is a great time to really bring about some quality stuff here, you know, to this world, to really bring about some abundance, some beauty. You know, the Three of Coins, this is Mercury or Mars in Capricorn. And when we put in that work, Cancer, in whatever this is that you want to nurture, what you love, you know, your creative ideas, whatever bliss that you want to bring into the world, do that, Cancer. But And when you do that type of stuff, Cancer, because here's the thing, when we do creative things and things that raises our vibration, that's a form of relaxation too, because now we're not doing stuff we have to do, we're doing stuff we want to do. And when we want to do stuff, then it gets the energies flowing. It's a whole different experience. Again, that's how you Nine of Cups. That's how you attract all this abundance here. But you know, it's doing these things. It's putting in that work, and again, being mindful of these energies that are around us, Cancer, because that's something, you know, you are a very nurturing sign. You know, people love your energy, but you know, what do you love it for? You know, what are we? And it's not to say like you're not forming relationships because if you're not doing anything for me, then bye. But just more so like, when I'm supporting you, dope. When it's my turn, vice versa, dope. You know, we got each other. You know what I mean? That's what Venus in Cancer is about. That's where we want to get at, and just on this journey here, and just, yeah, Cancer. So be thinking about this stuff, you know, or you know what? When we're thinking about this stuff, try not to let it overwhelm you. You know, when you find yourself maybe getting if the heat becomes a little too much, breathe for a second. Do some, you know, maybe read a book. You go something to just kind of check out for a second, just to regroup, you know, and things will go smoothly, Cancer. But let's get down to the last little bit, Leo energy, because we just been moving poor Leo down the line here. Mars is going to be entering Leo right before the Sun on the 20th of May, and will be there through the 10th of July. And with this energy, Cancer, you want to talk about promoting creativity. Leo energy is one of the most creative signs of the zodiac. They really have just this natural innate ability to just manifest, it's insane. And this encourages us, with Mars being in Leo, this encourages us to, one, recognize like positive moments, because Leo is very fun energy, very much about joy and happiness, but it's about remembering those positive moments and and making more of that. You know, Six of Cups upright, creating new memories, Cancer, new energies to bask into. And this is a great energy too to follow your heart, you know, to follow because Leo rules, if I'm remembering that correctly, their area covers the heart. And so what a great time to follow your heart, Cancer. You know, we had that fuel from our Mars and Cancer, and now Mars and Leo, it's like, all right, you found that passion, now let's create it, let's manifest it, let's have fun, let's raise your vibration, and oh, really enjoy this energy, Cancer. But let's get some, let's get an oracle on this. See how we can have a little fun. I like that. Let's see what we got here, Cancer. Oh, okay, Cancer. Stay calm, because let's do some deep breathing, because you got the 5th card of Taurus is here, which is the broken vase card. Small tower moment. And with this broken vase, this is a card of hardship, misfortune, trial, overcome, crisis, 2 steps back, change of state, grief, fix it, opportunity, pressure, burden, destroy, adversity, accident, disappointments, and setback. And here's the thing, Cancer. This is what I was kind of talking about earlier. The energies might feel right now that there might be a lot of, because I mean, with Uranus and Taurus, things are changing, you know, banks collapsing, you know, all this nonsense. I mean, banks have been, the way they talk about, we hear talk about inflation stuff, I mean, whatever. We're not here for that. But when you think about things just falling apart, just tower moments in general, sure, that sucks, you know, like broken vases, literally and just metaphorically, they suck, but they just don't have to stay in that place of suck. If that's the vibration you just want to stamp on and to keep moving, that's what happens when we just 3 of coins in reverse. We're just like, oh, well, that sucks, there's broken glass all over the place, moving on. I observed it. But it's another thing, Cancer. How can we find the opportunities out of this? You know, how can we turn adversity to an advantage? You know, how do we, because the thing is, when I talk about, like, you know, when the tower comes up, Mars is clearing space for the Empress to come through and plant beauty and to create newness out of this, and I mean, really, and if Jupiter's there along the ride, I mean, why not? Let's sprinkle a little more. You can never have too, well, in what we're in creativity, there's never too much abundance there, Cancer. And so find that, you know, take these disappointments here. How do we turn that energy around? We can do this with anything, Cancer, because that's the whole point of the journey. That's what this Leo energy, how perfect. Mars is asking you, all right, I broke your vase. How are we going to have fun with this? What can we create from this? And see, like, because Mars, he can come across a little aggressive, but means well, because it just wants you to get inspired. To get some ideas. And maybe that's something too, Cancer. This is what conflicts do. If maybe you've been feeling like a bit of a brain fog as of late, you know, adversities, they can change the game up. They can, you know, this could be something too. Maybe we need to go out and break a vase, you know, maybe cause a tower moment, maybe bring, with all this easy energy that we're going through right now with the sextile, the trine, and, you know, all of that. It might be, we might need to stir up some things, Cancer. You know, life can be a little, you know, it's one thing for, it's Wheel of Fortune. It's like you having $1 million lottery ticket but not cashing it in, Cancer. So we might just need to do a little bit something to spark this energy. But let's get some tarot on this. I love it, Cancer. All right, last little bit here. You have the 2 of coins in reverse, but lovely thing is, we got 10 of coins up right here. And let's, hold on, Cancer, let's switch back over. Because, Cancer, this has been, I feel like this has been the question. You know, I feel like you really do have a lot of questions here, Cancer. I feel like we have a lot that we might be working with. And with this 2 of coins in reverse, maybe we're trying to take on too much all at once. You know, that might be something too. If so, figure out what resonates with you. Not even just that, what resonates with you, and then how can that make sense? Does it make sense to apply that right now? You know, let's balance that out. And if not, that doesn't say you abandon that idea. Okay, we just shelve that, and then let's see what makes sense at this moment that we can work on. Get that thing going, and then when we do Cancer, once we get these energies a little more harmonious, I feel like, then Ten of Coins is going to start coming into view here. You know, I mean, Wheel of Fortune, because I mean, seriously, Cancer, this is really freaking abundant. And really, this is just a question of, what does abundance look like for you right now? You know, what do you want? What does abundance look like for you for the rest of the, you know, just keep asking yourself these questions. And if like an idea of like a 6-month plan is too much, then let's just get a month plan. And then just as you start going, just build off of that. And you know, Cancer, you work with this energy. This is Jupiter in Capricorn. You work in this energy. You put in that effort. Make it a routine, Cancer, because this is Venus in Virgo. This Ten of Coins. But when you think about that, Virgo is a sign of routines. You know, one of the things that they cover, and Empressing, you know, creation, self-care. All the things that an Empress does, you make that a routine. That's the easiest and the fastest way for you to work with this energies and to get Ten of Coins and get all the abundance that you've presented in front of me today. So I'm with it. Go create it, Cancer. Go think about what this world is and what this world is looking like. So I love it. Let's give it a thumbs up, Cancer. Let's get this abundance circulating here. Let's get Cancerians manifesting. And share this, Cancer, if you know someone who might be thinking a lot, maybe he's going through some type of, I don't know, Cancer, but these are big questions that we ask ourselves, and the whole point of the journey is to get it figured out, you know. And there's no need to feel that pressure, you know, or to put any unnecessary pressure on yourself, you know. But I'm about to get back into your reading. Share that with these people. And out of those people, subscribe, hit that bell button to get notified when I have these videos each week. And then I'm on this meditation app, Insight Timer. Great energy, you know, while we're doing some yoga. And I started a group on there called Zodiacs Raising the Vibration. And it's just a group to drop like positive affirmations, encouraging messages, talk about your spiritual journeys, you know, how you turn broken vases into brilliant victories. Ooh, you like that, Cancer? Dude, look at you. That's how you show us how you work with the energies, Cancer. And you know, as the group grows, definitely want to start scheduling some meditations. You know, the Empress and I, we already got some in the mix here. We think of doing like, you know, self-care with the Empress, or, you know, something like that. But I'm working with all the cards. So all that information, Cancer, is in the description box. And then lastly, Cancer, as I was talking about earlier, I have a whole other channel for you, specifically for you, wherever you have Cancer in your placement. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, oh, what a lovely placement. Mars, Saturn, Uranus, wherever, Cancer. Come on over to my other channel, The Chariot and Friends. I mean, you got a hot ticket here, the High Priestess, and you're a Cancer. And I do videos Monday through Friday there. we discuss lunar shenanigans, absolutely. It's a good old time. And all that housekeeping down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise card here so I can get you out of here, Empress. And oh, Cancer, I love this. Page of Cups in reverse. And let me tell you why I love him being in reverse. Because, you know, even before I start pulling your oracle cards, the Page of Cups. Talk about Pisces. You know, when I think about the Page of Cups, he reminds me of Pisces the most. When I think about like imagination and creativity and things, and the Page of Cups, he has a very vivid imagination, very, very dreamy, very wild, you know, just like, talk about, he probably has Neptune in Pisces as a placement. But if we haven't been letting those creative juices flow, Cancer, if you haven't allowed yourself to be in your imagination and to envision a world, you know, really start manifesting your ideas. I mean, both this Page of Cups, and when we're talking about that, you like between getting the head and the heart in alignment here, we need to get them on the same page. Let's get them manifesting. Let's get them figure out how we can get some of these ideas cooking and really get those creative juices flowing there, Cancer, because there's something here that even if this is not like an abundance for like a dream or anything along those lines, that's really great. Even if there's not a dream or, you know, that you're, oh, I lost my train of thought there. Oh, even if this is not a dream, like you're exposing or, you know, like going for like a business, just doing some things that you love, Cancer, because you got the love card in reverse here. And with this being in reverse, really, whether this is self-care and however that looks, and if we've been thinking about love maybe in just in general, because you do have a lot of strong love here, Cancer. Like if we're in a relationship, this is a lot, Cancer. You're gonna drop this on me right when I was trying to get you out of here. If we're thinking about love in a relationship, if there's something that's, you know, we find that is holding you back and it's not keeping, it's, you know, in your guts telling you something, we may need to have a conversation, you know, however that looks. I'm not saying we need to break up with our person, but if that's, you know, Cancer, if something hasn't been feeling right. But really just, Cancer, if it's not any kind of relationship, just making sure that we're surrounding ourselves with things that we're loved, that we're doing things that we love, that we have people around us that are loving things, Cancer. You know, really make that a point, just always, but especially just throughout the year. Be thinking about how we can get that security if we haven't been feeling that. And make sure, just like that, really love for yourself, Cancer. You know, self-love to the max, crank it up. Venus is demanding it. You know, and Venus wouldn't tell you to do anything, but especially with her being in our sign for this, you know, this little about a month, Cancer, do self-love, self-care to the max. So I'm gonna let you go get out there and do some yoga and think about these dreams, Cancer. So you stay safe out there with all this journeying and life questions. You know, stay safe out there. Surround yourself with love. And raise your vibration through the roof, because this is really sick, Cancer. This is abundance. It's just like little, I feel like it's like little random hiccup things. You know, if we can make these tweaks and find these little things so that we can be in this energy, it's going to be smooth sailing. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.